Hello and welcome to Byjus Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Before we look into the practice questions for the day, we have two important announcements. The first is in reference to the preliminary examination 2023. At 7 p.m. today, what we will have is a detailed question paper analysis, discussion of each of these questions and the expected cutoff. So please do tune in live on our YouTube channel at 7 p.m. today. The other announcement is in reference to the Mega Scholarship Program. Now you would be able to get up to 60% discount on our live online classroom program as well as the offline classroom program. We have very limited number of seats, so the offer would be valid till 30th of May only. All that you have to do is register. You will get a call back from our counselors and you would be able to avail discounts of as much as 60%. Let's get started and look into the first practice question. With respect to the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, which of the following statements are correct? A child means a person who has not completed 18 years of age. Under the 2006 Act, a person who is married before the minimum specified age may apply to annul the marriage. The petition must be filed within 5 years of attaining majority. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is none. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Hindu makes a reference to child marriages, which is why we have taken this practice question. Let us try and understand what are these statements. When you look into the first statement, it reads a child means a person who has not completed 18 years of age. This happens to be a wrong statement. Why? According to this act, a child means it varies. How does it vary? With respect to a man, it is 21 years of age. With respect to a girl, that is a female, it is 18 years of age. So this is the definition according to the Prohibition of Child Marriages Act. It is not equal for both men and the women. So the first statement is wrong. When you look into the second statement, under the 2006 Act, a person who is married before the minimum specified age may apply to annul the marriage. Yes, this statement is right, but the second part is wrong. The petition must be filed not within 5 years but within 2 years. Let's assume for a moment that there is a girl. This girl had entered into a child marriage, that is she was married at the age of 15 or 16 or 17 or anything less than 18 years of age. So the minute this girl attains the majority, which is 18 years, she would be entitled to get this particular marriage annulled, which means to say that within 2 years after she attains the majority, she would be able to file a case and ultimately set aside this marriage. With respect to a boy, the majority would be 21 years, so he would be able to get this particular marriage annulled. So basically it is not 5 years. Majority means that it is 18 plus 2 for the girl, and for the boy it is 21 plus 2, which is 23. This is the age and it is not 5 years. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements with respect to Hakki Pikki tribal community. They are a semi-nomadic tribal group from Karnataka. The society is matriarchal, where the groom gives dowry to the bride's family. Hakki Pikki tribe have been making arduous journey to the African continent to sell herbal products. How many of the above statements are correct? Since it is asking for the correct statement, all three statements are right. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to Hakki Pikki type, which is why we have taken this practice question. What does Hakki Pikki stands for? Hakki in Kannada basically stands for bird. Pakki in Kannada basically stands for catchers. So these are the tribal groups who are known for catching the birds. They are from the state of Karnataka. So the first statement is right. The society is matriarchal, which means to say, yes, the groom gives dowry to the bride's family. The second statement is also right. And Hakki Pikki tribe have been making arduous journeys to African continent. This statement is also right. So basically, Hakki Pikkis in Karnataka follow the Hindu tradition, celebrate all Hindu festivals. They are non-vegetarians as well, and they usually prefer cross-cousin marriages. And according to the locals, the usual marriage age is 18 for the women and 22 for the men. A detailed analysis for the Hakki Pikki tribal community has already been done in our explain session, so kindly look into it. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have the exercise on one side, countries involved on the other side. Al-Mohed, Al-Hind, India and Saudi Arabia. Duslik, India and Uzbekistan. Ekata, India and Maldives. Zail al-Bahar, India and UAE. How many pairs given above are correctly matched? The answer to this is only 3 pairs. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the PIB makes a reference to Al-Mohed Al-Hind, which is why we have taken this practice question. Let us try and understand what are these statements. When you consider Al-Mohed Al-Hind, this happens to be a bilateral exercise between India and Saudi Arabia. For what? To enhance the interoperability, for deeper understanding between the operational practices, and ultimately learn from each other expertise with respect to the naval forces. So the first one is right. When you look into this thing, yes, it is between India and Uzbekistan. Yes, when it comes to Ekata, it is between India and Maldives, and the aim of this is to increase the capacity building, enhance the operability between both the forces. But when it comes to Zair al-Bahar, it is not India and UAE, but instead it happens to be Qatar. So remember, it is not UAE, but instead it is Qatar. So the participating countries would be India and Qatar. The basic aim is to ensure peace, stability, security in the oceanic regions, and ultimately consolidate interoperability, increase friendship over a period of time. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements with respect to Society for Wildlife Interbank Financial Telecommunication are correct? Belgium headquarters SWIFT is a messaging network used by banks and financial institutions globally for quick and faultless exchange of information pertaining to financial transactions. Each participant on the platform is assigned a unique 8-digit SWIFT code or a bank identification code. It holds securities and money. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 1 and 2 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to Swift, which is why we have taken this practice question. Let us try and understand what are these statements. When you look into the first statement, yes, the first statement is right. Where is it headquartered? It is headquartered in Belgium, and this happens to be a messaging network which are used by international banks. How does it work? Let's say, for example, there is a person who is in India. He is in Bombay, and let's say there is a person who is in United States of America. So a person has to send some money from SBI in India to, let's say, Citibank in United States of America. So what would happen? Basically, a 8-digit Swift code will be sent from India, that is from Bombay, to United States of America. And once this particular code is received and approved, that is when a person would be able to send his money from SBI in India to Citibank in United States of America. So this is a messaging network, and it does not hold securities and the money. This merely happens to be a platform. It just sends messages on a secure network and does not hold any security or money. It just provides standardized, reliable communication to facilitate the transaction. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which amongst the following provided a common factor for tribal insurrection in India in the 19th century? Introduction of new system of land revenue and taxation of tribal products, influence of foreign religious missionaries in tribal areas, rise of a large number of money lenders, traders and revenue farmers as middlemen in tribal areas, the complete disruption of old agrarian order of the tribal communities. Which of them is a common factor for tribal insurrection? The answer to this is the complete disruption of the old agrarian order of the tribal community. So basically, the tribal society and economy were completely disrupted by the British regime. The forest laws, introduction of the money lenders, the zamindars into the forest areas, commodification of land, introduction of religious missionaries in the tribal areas, all led to disruption of their way of life. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is live streaming of court proceedings. Let us try and understand what is this topic all about. First, let us understand the meaning of live streaming of court proceedings. We have the open court system in India. What is this open court system? What we have is the judges. We have parties to this particular case. The parties would be represented by their respective advocates as well. So all these proceedings that are happening will be happening in open court, which means the public would be able to view it. It also means judges are held accountable. All the arguments are made before the court, so public would be able to see what is happening, and ultimately there is accountability of the judges as well. So this open court system is further enhanced in the form of live streaming. What is this live streaming? Whatever happens in a particular court will also be streamed online as well. Let's say for example, we have couple of high courts in India. Let's say the High Court of Gujarat and let's say the High Court of Karnataka. What do? They basically start live streaming the sessions. So all the sessions that happening, all the cases that go in their court halls, the advocates arguing, the judges interacting with the advocates will all be posted online so that people like you, me, all of us would be able to see it. Ultimately, this live recording of the court proceedings is an extension of the open court system. In open court system, you will have very limited number of people, which means to say you might have the parties, you will have the advocates, you will have the judges, and very less number of people. But when it comes to the live streaming, there are more number of people who would be able to see how exactly the court proceedings work. Now the question is, what are the advantages of live streaming of court proceedings? One, the litigants, law students, public can all watch them. Previously, what we had was the accountability when it comes to the open court system. This has been extended, and what we have is further transparency and accountability. We also know for the fact that when it comes to Indian judiciary, it is very slow, and it also means that you have the advocates who are working for their clients. They repeatedly keep asking adjournments after adjournment, and this basically means since there are other people who are also watching as well, these adjournments that they ask may comparatively come down as well. So basically there will be very few interruptions. Adjournments from the advocates will also be controlled over a period of time, and ultimately chances of misreporting, errors or second-hand information can all be considerably reduced. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.